Howdy, Mr. Jim.
Howdy.
How are you?
Good. Art's looking a little bleak today.
Yeah,
Can you hear us, Art? Uh,
he was here before I got here, so he's always here. Art's always here. And Vicente is in California today.
Hello, teach him.
He another one of his kids, I think, is going to college. And I don't know about anybody else. I just know that that's all I know.
Ah. That's Foofer. Dale. He's got to come up here. I think he wants food, is my guess. Hey, Foofer. You're gonna walk across the keyboard. That's Foofer. He is an affectionate old cat, I must say. He's a good old boy. He's a barn cat.
Aha! Steve is here.
Yeah. Well, we got thinking about Steve. Steve, there's a couple of motor articles. They've got a 80% efficiency motor that weighs 35 pounds. And pretty interesting.
Greetings.
Dun dun dun.
Let me fix that.
Well, I knew when I showed up again that it was you. So. I don't have to let Steve in. Steve is here.
Oh, really? Sorry.
It's all right. So did you get my I think I sent you a text message.
Yes, I got that.
Yeah. That fixed a lot of the weird little quirks. Seems like that was set up to be a tablet kind of deal.
I don't think tablet. It just has more things turned on.
Tablet oriented kind of thing. It actually I saw in mine it has something called tablet mode, which I don't really know what that did. But
yeah, I don't know either. Sorry. I don't know if I have that turned on mine.
yeah, the auto rotate works and everything just it just works. All the little scripts that I wrote are kind of pointless.
Yeah, been there.
Oh. I mean, I'm still turning off the finger touch because I don't really like it. So it's not completely pointless, but it's sort of pointless. What are you trying to do, Jim?
Camera fell on his face. So it's looked up and said, well, that's interesting. Oh, I just work here.
So I don't know if Barry's going to show up, or I don't know if anybody. I don't know anything. But I've got I made a couple of changes to that TV project. And I've got a video that I could show here in a little bit.
Ever play with Mu editor?
New,
Python? MU?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's curious. It's similar to Arduino, more for playing with Python.
Okay.
And I'm playing with my tiny 2040 finally. I've had this thing for a while. This thing,
Oh yeah.
$9.95 at Micro Center.
I got an actual pretty amazing deal on a couple of their C3s, ESP32 C3s. And the biggest drawback to them is there's no real documentation. I bought this version that's got serial flash in it. And then I bought two little screens. I've got two more coming because I kind of liked them. But on 4 controllers and 4 screens, I spent $26. And that's still cheaper than buying one M5 stack controller.
Is it the same processor?
No, it's a C3. It's the RISC-based
Oh, okay.
processor. Arduino doesn't support it well. It supports it, but not well. And it's a little flaky. Platform IO supports it very well, and it works really good with Platform IO. But from what I can tell, there's not a whole lot of difference between the C3 and the regular ESP32. Of course, M5 stack, they cram a bunch of sensors and other things into these small packages. And for less than $6, you're getting the screen and you're getting the controller. You're not getting a whole lot of extra stuff. But
In a pretty little box.
let's see. It is, let's see if I can find a picture of it. I had a picture of it. Let's see if I erased it. It is roughly the same size. Yeah. Hang on. I'll find a picture.
Yeah.
So this is the new thing that I bought. And this, of course, is the original M5 Stick C. Screens are the same size. They use the same controller chip for the screens. Of course, the M5 stick, it has real-time clock and IR and magnetometer, and I mean it's just packed full of stuff and a couple of buttons, where this is basically just the screen, the microcontroller, and a little joystick 4-way switch deal. So the and you know the screen is separate, so you can pull it off of the thing. The biggest problem I found with it was there's almost no documentation for it. So I finally found somebody on GitHub that had some code that actually worked. And after screwing around with it for hours, I finally got Batman to work. So but I mean, it was less than $6. And it's not a bad deal once you figure out how to make it work. It's
I understand. I just dug this thing out of my drawer. I don't even know what it is.
that looks like an ESP32.
Yeah, okay. It's got many pins.
Mini pins, yeah. But overall, it's just slightly longer than the Stick C.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. If you need a small controller and you don't need a whole bunch of sensors, $6. You need a screen. Actually, if you don't need the screen, it's like $3. So you can't beat $3. It cost I think $2 to have it shipped. So it's still cheaper than other stuff. But when I saw the price, I was like, there's no way this thing's good. So I bought a couple of them and they weren't bad. They got that little tiny thing. It's got a little teeny tiny screen on it. It's got to be about the size of, yeah, that's got to be about the size of that tiny that you've got.
Yeah. With the screen.
Yeah.
So it should have 2 buttons as well.
It's got an RGB LED.
Yeah. But it's got to have at least 1 button.
Oh, the buttons are on the back side.
Okay.
Then they've got the Raspberry Pi, the 2040 version with a little tiny screen for $7.
That's less than I paid for this one.
With a little tiny screen.
0.42 inch. That must be what's in the original the step counter, the real narrow one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This company, I bought a couple of these $6 models. This company actually provides actual support and code, and I was like, oh, cool.
Cool.
That means that I'm not going to sit there and fight with a bunch of stuff. What's this? I need to stop looking at AliExpress.
2040 with a 5x5 neopixel array or RG. Well, I assume neopixel. No, it just says RGB.
It says RGB. Let's see if it actually says. The NeoPixel library probably will work with it. I need to stop looking at this. For colorful lighting displays. Yeah. It doesn't actually say, does it? Yep. WS 2812, that's NeoPixels. That was the bundle price, $6. $6 plus $3, $9 to have that shipped. I see another AliExpress order coming soon.
I'm thinking 5x5 array of LEDs, and I've got 5 hard drives to monitor.
That was a 2040. This is the this has an ESP32, but it's a 5x5 LED matrix with a button under the matrix.
Sorry.
So M5 stack wants almost $16 for that. But the see, I'm guessing this. He wants your attention. Play with me.
Throw the stick. What's the matter with you?
So this stick is a piece of rock maple because I gave her pine once and it was gone in 20 minutes. This she chews up pretty quick. This started out a foot long and about 3 inches square, and she just takes off chunks of it constantly. But she does enjoy chewing on things, so it's that or the furniture, I figure.
Did you see that we have new options down at on our screen? AI companion and notes and a summary. I don't know if Jim has it or not.
I'm
I
not
don't
seeing
see
that.
that stuff.
Are you using the Zoom app, or are you using it on the website?
Using it on the website, I believe.
Yeah. When was the last time you updated, Steve?
I just did a regular update 15 minutes ago.
Huh. I wonder
I
why
would have
you
expected it to be in there.
yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know why you don't see the AI companion and the summary and the notes. It's all down at the bottom of the screen, next to chat and all that stuff. I didn't turn it on because I wasn't real sure what it does.
According to my machine, I'm using Zoom 5.12.6.173. Which it says is the newest version. Let's see what's on the website.
I've got 5.16.0.
Huh.
I don't know. Me and Art went through this same thing once before. He said that he had just installed one and it was a different version than what I had just installed. And I literally just downloaded this like, 5 minutes before the meeting started. So
Really? What version have you got?
5.16.0.
So I'm on Zoom's website, selected Mint for the and 64-bit for the architecture,
Mm-hmm.
and it's version 5.12.6. What I've got,
Weird.
not what you got. Did you select Ubuntu?
No, no, I
Debian?
selected Mint.
Though my minor version is. Are you sure? Because for Ubuntu, it shows up as version 5.16.0.8131. Yeah, what the heck? Client for meeting. That's not what I'm looking at.
Now look, right here it says 5.16, but right here it says 5.12.
No, maybe I missed that.
So if I click on the download, I should get 5.16. But I can't make the screen. Why isn't the Zoom working?
Hey, baby. Yeah, you're good, bro.
Ah, okay. Well, I'll probably be back in a minute or so.
In a second. We'll be here. That's weird. So I don't get it. I don't understand stuff. I'm just here. We seem to have lost Art.
Yeah.
Well, he was looking good.
Art's here hours before the meeting. It's surprising.
So maybe they don't install a repository. I just assumed they did.
No, it's you've got to go off and check it, or you can click on, check for updates from the main page or whatever. From that You click on your profile picture and then you click on check for updates. And then it should say, I'm up to date. But yeah, I don't know why they don't have an actual repository for it.
I don't know. I'll be right back.
All right,
Maybe.
we'll be here. You're beeping, Jim. Boop, boop.
Yeah. Well, Steve blew up now. Man,
He installed
update.
the
Yeah.
latest version.
Oh, he looks like Art now. And that similar look. They could be related. Yeah.
So that time I had to let you in. That was kind of weird.
Oh. No.
I don't know.
Might be because I changed my name ahead of time.
I don't know. I'm not trying to figure out Zoom or what Zoom does.
So it looks the same to me.
You don't see down at the bottom, where it says the microphone and the webcam and all that stuff. You don't see AI companion down there and summary down there.
No.
You've come in as a standard user then. That's interesting.
Okay. I'm not even entirely certain that I'm running the new one. Though
Oh.
it said that it was writing it over the top. Oh, there we go. Settings. Version. No, I'm still using the old version.
The old version.
5.12.6.
So it probably was still running down the system tray when you updated.
Let's try again. BRB.
Close it out in the system tray too.
I'm looking at the apps. They have an app called Equal Time. Track speaking time, take attendance. Yeah.
Now he's back as meeting presenter.
Yeah. And now I have all sorts of new stuff.
There you go. Isn't it neat?
Yeah.
They just keep adding stuff.
And I've got all these little things popping up telling me about AI companion and enhanced something and Zoom whiteboard. Okay.
We played around with the whiteboard. Has been there for a while. We played around with it for a while. The note thing is new. That the notepad is. I noticed AI companion. What was that? 2 weeks ago? Maybe.
Yeah, I have no idea how long it's been there.
Yeah, I think it was a couple of weeks ago when I noticed AI companion, and I didn't know what it was, so I didn't turn it on.
You use this about 4 times more than I do. I don't play with it. It's always been rock solid for me. So I just let it go.
Let it go. It works. It does what it's supposed to do. Then you get me who's on the edge. I install all the new software. I got to stop doing that.
So one of the things that I have found is difficult to do in Debian that I did just as a matter of fact in Red Hat stuff was in Red Hat, it's very easy to get a list of packages to be installed and look up the release date and not install them until they're a month old. It was a relatively short script. And if things didn't end up being a month old because they got renewed, it just reset the clock.
I know I have seen something somewhere that told what date something was installed on,
Yeah, you can pull the info.
but I don't remember how I did that.
Apt. Hold on.
Yeah. So then was in one of the package managers. I saw it and it told you how old the package was.
Apt show. Sudo apt show package name. I don't even know if that old script of mine still works. A lot of my scripts have quit working.
Chinese hackers are exploiting a new Linux backdoor. What? Was that? What's that? What's that all about, Jim?
Well, let me show you. I'll just let you read the article. I might fall asleep talking about Linux.
Yeah, tends to be boring. It just works.
It just works.
Yeah. I thought you'd be interested, so let's see. I was more interested in the 80% efficiency motor that weighed 35 pounds. I thought that was the cat.
Oh, that one stroke thing that's not
Winkle variation, Winkle variant. All as reported by Bleeping Computer. Okay.
Hmm.
I don't know. That's all I know. There's a link in the news if anybody wants to read it. And there's also a link for the Winkle engine. 80% is a big deal, guys.
Yeah.
They're saying that would kill EVs because it make gas effectively very cheap. Because the engine efficiency now is about 34%.
Yeah. Okay, so it's somewhat better than twice as good. And that makes gas, what, $2 a gallon?
Well, I would much rather $2 a gallon than $4 a gallon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I understand that, but I don't know. the efficiency on some of the hybrids is pretty surprising.
The hybrid, I kind of like how some of those hybrids work. I always kind of thought that should have been the hybrid should be our intermediate step, because
With this Winkle engine, it's just 35 pounds. You could stick that in an EV and
Yeah,
you would have dual engine, dual fuel.
yeah,
I'm honestly surprised nobody has made a little 15 horsepower turbine. Directly drive a generator. It's not connected to the wheels at all. It'd be, I don't know.
Well,
Pretty
they
small.
had one with the engine. The Volt had an engine in it and just charged the battery.
The Volt? No.
Yeah, originally, yeah. The original Volt had an engine in it. It burned ethyl. And one reason I remembered it burned ethyl.
was it
Hmm.
the Volt or the Bolt?
It was
V.
the V, well, Volt with a V.
V with the Volt.
The original Volt had an engine in it.
Because my recollection of the original Volt was that it had 8 or 9 lead acid batteries and couldn't get out of its way.
But it had an engine. It was a wonderful thing. You could extend the mileage, the range to like 500 miles with the engine in it.
Yeah,
That's how we got 500 miles out of the Volt.
one of those Chevys had an engine in it.
Yeah.
A real tiny tank, real tiny fuel tank, but it had an engine.
But it
Right.
wouldn't drive. It wasn't really used to drive the car. It was used to charge the battery.
Yeah.
It was used to charge the batteries.
And you could extend the miles, but you couldn't just run on the engine. That's not the way it worked. And they thought that was the cat's meow.
I read somewhere that a Tesla uses about 2.5 horsepower at 60 miles an hour. Good aerodynamics, and it gains energy going downhill, uses more going uphill. But if you average it at 5 horsepower, a 5 horsepower turbine would be able to keep the thing going, and the turbine will run on anything. And
That's
in a
one of the
Tesla,
good deals about the Wankel. You can burn hydrogen too.
yeah,
You didn't hear about the guy who traveled cross country in his Tesla and he hacked off the back end of it and stuck a little generator in there to keep it charged?
yeah, that was ugly.
Yeah, it was ugly. It worked.
5 horsepower to keep it going 50 miles an hour. Wow. That is amazing. 60.
It's like 2.5 to keep it at 60.
Wow. That's amazing.
I was pretty impressed with the oldest kids. She had a Prius, and it was an old Prius, and it was still getting somewhere around 70 miles a gallon. But that thing was expensive to work on. So
Very cool.
Yeah, I think I'm getting ready to tear apart all the stuff that I did to it and go this direction. I showed it to Vicente, and he thought that the low resolution eyes really suited the project. So I was like, yeah. I found those uh I found those eyes on GitHub, and they didn't work with the M5 stack stuff. So I had to change all that and screw around with getting it to work. That's what I did today, though. I spent some time doing that. I was like, ah. And then once I saw the eyeball, I was like, oh, cool. You know, because of course, you only see one eyeball when you first start. I'm thinking, since it's getting ready to be Halloween, finding like some way to center that eyeball and then block off the rest of the TV. So it's just an eyeball sitting on the porch or something. When somebody walks up to it, IR sensor or a ping sensor or something activates the TV and causes it to look out this little window at them.
It'd be very cool if you could get it to follow them.
Yeah. Make scary noises or something at them.
You could put it in a pumpkin. I got a plastic pumpkin that would fit in.
I could put them in a pumpkin.
I wouldn't put it in a real pumpkin.
I don't suppose anybody has any round CRT tubes anywhere. That would be cool.
Eddie Mendelssohn's isn't still in business.
Yeah, I know. I would run up there and get one.
Yeah, they got many of them.
They can't be all that expensive.
I've got an old oscilloscope, but it's got a rectangular tube.
Yeah.
There's the old HPs that had round, but those tended to have a very flat front.
Yeah. I haven't seen a round CRT in a while. But I saw those eyeballs on GitHub and I was like, oh, why didn't I see these a month ago? Because it would have saved me all kinds of problems. So I'm back to running all the code on one microcontroller again, which is what I originally wanted to do in the first place. The speech synthesizer will still have to run on the Arduino Uno, but it basically could take input from any audio input, so it doesn't really have to be that speech synthesizer. It could be an MP3 player and play spooky sounds. for instance. I don't know. Are you guys hearing the audio?
No,
So you don't hear the audio?
no.
Hmm. Last week we heard the audio. Okay. Somebody say something.
Okay, that Wankel engine with the 80% efficiency, it doesn't have a radiator. It's air cooled. And that would reduce your emissions significantly too. And no radiator. It's like platters. You can have multiple Wankels on in an engine. It's like a sandwich. And Leroy pointed out one that was the opposed piston engine.
No, that was Barry.
Barry, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they got a few ideas. The Wankel, they had the wear problem. They would have to experiment with that. They do have a prototype, but that's about it. I learned that now when they say the what is it, the new term, the four streaming high definition. Yeah, when they say it, they're inferring that it's 8 megapixel.
For your cameras?
For the new streaming, for
Oh,
the streaming speeds, the 4 whatever it is, that when they say that, they're inferring that you have that infers that you have a 4 megapixel picture. You have to have 4 megapixels to do that streaming, that super high definition, they call it, something like that. I was looking for a 60 frames per second camera for cars, of course. Ran across some of that stuff.
So how does this motor work? I see it's like got a triangle in it. That's just
So if it's a Wankel, the crankshaft has a cam on it. And around the cam on the
Yeah.
side of the engine, there's a gear. The
okay.
gear forces the rotor to turn at 1/3 the speed of the crankshaft. Or,
Okay.
I'm sorry, half the speed. And because of the offset on the crankshaft, it makes the rotor walk around the combustion chamber. You can do the same thing with a 4-lobe piston and a 5-lobe chamber, or a 6 and a 7. But then your chambers are getting progressively tinier, so your compression ratio goes down.
Okay.
They're very neat. Many years ago, I had a Wankel engine about 3 inches in diameter for model airplanes. It was built by World Engines here in Cincinnati. A very cool toy, but it was definitely a toy. You needed to disassemble that thing and clean it out real well every time you flew it.
So that's kind of what you're talking about though, right, Jim? Is how they're messy or something?
There's
Well,
the new one, the Omega 1, they call it.
so the original rotary engine had a seal at the apex of each corner of that triangle.
Uh-huh.
And on a car, oil is pushed up into the cylinders and it actually comes out of the oil ring. There are holes through the piston, so there's lubrication being applied there. That ain't so with a rotary. So you had to mix oil with your fuel on the Mazda RX 1 through 7. I
Yeah.
think the 8 did something differently, but it's dead now too.
Weird.
Oh yeah, the one that Barry was talking about. Do you remember that Chevrolet had a wobble plate air conditioning compressor?
Mhm.
And that went away, I think, because it was a bad design. But that opposed piston engine used a wobble plate.
2 of them, one on each end.
Yeah. And the article I read said that was a point, a weak point.
I'm just now looking at that Omega 1. Okay, that is not the normal rotary triangular thing.
Yeah.
looks like it exhausts through the crankshaft.
Huh. And that's the old one. Looks like they have two rotors, has two shafts, and it has their set of two wankles in a layer. They're like edge to edge. Let's see if they get a better. Yeah, it's a two crankshafts, and it has two wankles per layer. Let me put that back up because you guys have not suffered enough, obviously. See, this two wankles, they're two separate shafts, I believe. And then there's another layer, there are two more wankles. That's another set.
Lower power output shaft. Hundred and 60 horsepower.
Yeah, the tolerances are extremely close. And there it is assembled. So it's like a 2-liter 4-cylinder, but it weighs 35 pounds.
Longevity of internal components not yet known.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I said they just have a prototype. That's the same thing with the other Wankel. I think 60,000 you had to rebuild it, and rebuilding it wasn't a ride in the park.
The RX series were pretty easy to rebuild. And parts kits were available for them. 2016, I rebuilt an RX 4 engine, and the seal kit was $45, $50. It wasn't bad, and it took overnight.
It wouldn't be bad for somebody that had all the right tools and knew how to do it. But
13 millimeter socket and wrench, 10 millimeter. I mean, honestly, very easy engine to disassemble and work on. It's just a pile of flat layers, bolts going all the way through from the front cap to the rear end.
How many miles before you had to rebuild it?
Well, you notice it losing power about 30,000 miles.
Yeah, you had to rebuild it too quick and
Yeah.
take your car apart with the air conditioning and the crap that they have on them.
Yeah, this one didn't have air conditioning.
Oh, okay. Talks about those very high tolerances that we're back to. Yeah, that's like having a turbo, and the turbos are popular again. Why is that? Because it's just something you're going to have to rebuild unless they've improved the longevity of them.
They have considerably. Most cars that have a turbo now have an oil accumulator. So after you shut off the engine, you've still got oil pressure for about 35 seconds or so. And usually the turbo is stopped by then.
What can I expect the life? Is it the life of the car?
100K.
Oh yeah. And guess what? The turbos wasn't cheap. Used to be they weren't cheap.
That's
But
kind of why I want to see a
they're
turbine.
popular again.
I want to see a turbine go back in a car. And if it's a hybrid, it'd be a beautiful thing.
Well, did they have the efficiency? Did the turbines have the efficiencies?
Yeah, turbines are very efficient
Oh.
because they run at very, very high RPM. Like 130,000.
We used to use them for peaking at the generating station. We had some peaking turbines out back, but when you used them, it was strictly for peaking because you couldn't afford to run it otherwise. And all these peaking stations you see around here are turbines, but they're just for peaking. Otherwise, they'd put them on and leave them running.
Well, you can't run those on coal.
Well, you can run them on natural gas. There's tons
Yeah,
of
that's true.
And that's what we ran them on, natural gas. But you didn't run them unless you had to because they're too expensive. And they had those. They were doing them with the micro turbines, talking about the micro turbines. 20, 30 years ago. You're going to run everything from you want to have your own micro turbine in your house, running off of natural gas, probably. Or you can have those the latest in the solar cells, the infrared solar cells and the UV solar cells, and they have both of them on the same solar panel. So they improve their efficiencies. Woohoo.
Leroy, what's your impression of Circuit Python? Have you ever played with it?
I played with MicroPython, which is, very similar.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I've got good examples to follow, I can make it work. But I don't really know Python well enough to know exactly what it is I'm doing.
Well, yeah.
I don't particularly like how the code has to be formatted a certain way, either tabbed or spaced for certain functions to work correctly. But if I've got good examples, I can make it work. It's not
Python.
Yeah. I, I, those AI camera, most of those AI cameras that I've got, they all use Python or some form of Python. And I have changed one line of code thinking that I knew what that one line of code did and completely hosed up everything else about it. So, I don't know if I like it or not. It's probably one of those things that had it been around when I got back into microcontrollers and programming and all that, I probably would have used it way more and learned way more about it. But since I started with C, that's
Yeah.
what I like.
I kind of need to learn Python anyway.
Yeah. What are you trying to show us, Mr. Jim?
That's a MIMO antenna.
Oh, cool.
MIMO has at least two antennas. One for transmit, one for receive. And this one supposedly has 44 dB gain. And I got my real links, my bullet cameras are MIMO. So we'll probably be testing that out in the next few days.
See if they actually work better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they are MIMO. I was kind of surprised. Okay.
MicroPython and CircuitPython, well, almost all the MicroPython variants, they run on the microcontroller itself. You don't compile anything.
Right.
So
They're
Um,
slow.
yeah, it's not necessarily slow, but it's interesting because especially with those AI cameras, you've got to save the program a certain way so that it reloads that program. Because once you power off the thing, it forgets what programs were running. So you need to log back into it and fire the programs back up, unless you save it a certain way. If you save it as a boot program, then it'll boot it right up on boot. And usually you have to do that to an SD card. So I don't know. I know why they use Python for those AI cameras. It's mostly has to do with how OpenCV works and the camera software that's already running on the cameras itself. You can just interact with it directly. But I don't really know if I know or understand or like just having Python running on a microcontroller. You're you just trying to get better range out for your cameras, Mr. Jim?
Yep.
Yep. You're pushing them, aren't you? You've got them stretched as far as they're going to go, don't you?
Yeah, I got a barn out there. I can get to the front of the barn, but the back side of the barn is a little bit hard to get to. And now I got the wire-free camera in the woods, trying to get to the barn too.
Yeah.
And the Yagi works good pointing to the cameras in the woods, the camera in the woods, but still the backside of the barn's hard to get to. So I thought I'd try this guy.
Wonder if you can put the antenna on the side of the barn that's close to the house and run wire to the backside. Run antenna wire back there to it.
Well, I've got one of those. I got the outdoor antenna thing, access point, but I've got a variant of that, which is basically it's a link. You can put it in the link mode, and you put one at each end, and it's supposed to go like 400 meters.
Mhm.
And you just pick up the Ethernet at the other end. But I'm not particularly fond of that. I'll do that if I have to, but it's interesting. But I still want to do the remote cameras and watch the wildlife, etc.
It's seriously ugly, but if you mount a dish network antenna upside down so that the receiver is above it, you can get some serious range with one of those things, like miles.
Oh yeah, well they have them. The problem, and they have them that have some serious distances, but guess what? The price of them is.
Well, yeah, but you can pick up dish antennas for nothing, literally.
Yeah.
Put one on your roof facing the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Put your MIMO antenna at the focal point. And you can use the horn that's on them, but you got to remove some components. I had two of those with some WRT 54s or 57s or whatever they were, little Linksys routers at the focal point, and they were 2.5 miles apart.
They have some 25 dB Yagis. I was gonna purchase me one of those. My little Yagi, I got a Yagi that works really great, and it's about 6 inches long, and it works great. The problem with the 25 dB Yagis is they're 1.5 meters long, which would work in some places, but with a camera in the woods, maybe not.
Oh, they're going for an even bigger one, it looks like.
That's one with the 2 or the 3 LMBs on it, but yeah, I was looking for one that was just a normal. There was a guy out at the flea market years ago that was selling them for $20 a piece. Already had all the modifications done to them.
Really?
And I didn't buy one because I'm an idiot.
Well, you would have trouble putting one up now.
I would now, but then I would not have had a problem. Oh.
They do have the little Yagis that work pretty dang good, I must say. That's how my Woods camera is working now. I got a Yagi at the access point.
I put one of those little Yagis on a building sheet. What was it? It was up by Middletown. I don't remember. I could find it again, but it was in a valley. When you were on the roof, you could see a cell tower on the horizon, but inside you got no reception anywhere. And we just had a Yagi and a little passive radiator inside, and it worked surprisingly well. They went from having 0 bars to 2 or 3, depending on where they were in the warehouse. And that had no amplifier or anything.
Yeah, I used a Yagi when we lived in Hamilton, and the kid lived at the other end of the trailer park, and we lived at one end. And I pointed a Yagi at her house, and she got free internet. I pointed a Yagi at my house, and she could actually surf the internet.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Trying to the name of that place. There's a big building just before you get to Franklin Crane Engineering or something.
Oh yeah, I know where you're
Union
talking.
Road, maybe.
But I ran into something else. USB cables. I need a USB cable, 3 foot. All I need is a 3 foot USB cable. Okay, great. Oh, here's a cheap one, 95 cents for a USB cable. Okay, that's good. Type A, Type C on the other end, just what I wanted. Or oh, okay, and it even handles 5 amps. Oh, that's good. Anybody know what the problem is with that?
Power only.
Yep. Now I know.
Yeah, I just picked up a bunch of short USB-Cs to A. I guess they're 6 inches long. 5 for $7. But it was about the 15th thing that I looked through that mentioned what the transfer speed on them was. And it's got a transfer speed, it's got to be a data cable. I was half prepared to send them back because they lied. It wasn't a data cable, but I lucked out.
But I see some of them say sync, and then there's data. It
Yeah.
looks like they might not have a full set for the sync. It's just enough to sync them up.
Yeah, maybe just a USB 2 with a USB-C end on it. If the A end doesn't have the extra pins, like this doesn't. This is maybe.
Yep.
Yeah, there's only 4 pins in the A end on this. So this
You're not-
is
Yeah, you're not getting the benefit of high speed off of that.
I did notice when I plugged it into my device, my charger, that it went in very hard. And I said, that's weird. I kind of had to force it. I didn't like that. Okay, and it wouldn't charge. Okay. Then I went in and plugged it into another one, and it was very loose, and it would fall out. If you tilted it upside down, it'd fall out. I said, huh,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Looks like there may be some more opportunities, learning opportunities.
The M5 used to give sometimes you get little shorty A to C cables. Sometimes you get actual real cables. They stopped giving cables away. I haven't gotten a cable in my last couple of orders. I'm like, I need cables. I really don't. I have so many. They were one of the first companies that I'm aware of that was actually using USB-C. So I think they were giving cables away because nobody had USB-C cables. They were saving people from having to go and find cables to make their stuff work.
So now I have taken to plugging my routers into one another and with different address ranges on each router. And that is sometimes giving me some peculiar situations, and I haven't figured out what the deal is yet. Sometimes the camera will go away and then it'll come back, and then to add insult to injury, the cameras are 2-band. Okay, they have 2.4 and 5. So if you set it for 5, and theoretical, this is theoretical, of course, this is absolutely theoretical. What if you tried to connect it to 5 and you put the wrong password in? I did that. It was not pretty. Now it knows the 2.4 megahertz password and it knows how to get to it. So you boot it and it can't get to the 5 megahertz web router, but it knows it's there, but it can't get to it. And so you try to configure it and it won't configure. And then when you initialize, you can initialize all of these. I reinitialize one and the software helps me by loading the old information to the router that I have the wrong password on, and it won't connect. And I can't figure out what's going on. And I figured out it's loaded the old information. So that was an opportunity. So yeah, how do you do that? And what's the story? If the 5 gigahertz guy is not there, will it go? It knows the 4 gigahertz password to the that router and the password. Will it go to the 2.4?
It should.
But if you give it the wrong password to the 5 gigahertz, what's it going to do? It's not going to talk to you and the initialization program. And also, there's another opportunity came up while this was going on that had complexity. One of my power supplies wouldn't work. It wouldn't work with one of my power supplies. That was an opportunity. Had the 5 gigahertz wrong password thing going on. Oh, geez. And it was helping me by reloading it when I initialized it. Yeah. And then you got, okay, when you boot up one of these, this 2.4 or 5 gigahertz cameras, when you boot it, which router is it going to get his address from?
Yeah, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
And you have to give the two routers different address ranges. Otherwise, bad things happen.
That would not be pretty. Yeah. Yeah. And I put the Google Nest in it, and it came with a different address range. Instead of 0 dot, it was 86 dot. So they saw that coming.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why Cincinnati Bell does all of their stuff at 200 dot whatever.
Yeah. but neither router, if you look at the DHCP, they absolutely ignore any other address ranges, any other connections that are not in their address range. They don't show you that. But the Nest did say, you can say show connected devices, but it won't show. Yeah, and if you do a ARP -A on the one router, you won't see anything from the other ever. I guess you only see the link to the other router.
Right, but it should work. I've done that
It does.
intentionally
Yeah,
to push guests downstream.
Mhm. Supposedly my router has a guest mode, but I don't have it turned on because I don't let people just randomly connect to my Wi-Fi anyway.
One of the nice things about a guest network is you can usually set the speed to be something ridiculously low.
Oh. Yeah. I don't know if I have that option or not. I know it said something about a guest network, and I just stick them on the 2 gigahertz network if they want to be on there, and they don't really need to be on my network anyway. Tell them to turn on their own network.
I've pretty much always put low frequency and high frequency with the same SSID and password. Let their hardware figure out what it wants to connect to. It's fewer headaches.
My my SSIDs are different, but the password's the same for the two. And originally I was going to even separate it even further and put all the light bulbs on one and all the IoT crap on one, and that just
It's a
turned
headache.
into a pain. Yeah. So, and then I started running into weird issues, like the computer sitting next to me has a 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi card, but for whatever dumb reason, every time I use that 5 gigahertz, it knocks the 5 gigahertz off. It just kills the router. And I have to go and reboot the stupid router. So that machine is on 2.4 gigahertz, and 2.4 gigahertz is slow. Because if I turn on the 5 gigahertz on that machine, it'll absolutely kill the router. And I've never seen that before.
I have a carrier-based TP-Link connection. You know what I'm talking about? Carrier 60 wiring based. I tried that out to the barn. It didn't work. I might try that again. It's a TP-Link thing, and you plug it into the network, and you plug one end to the electrical here, and just plug the other one into the electrical there,
Mm-hmm.
and you're good.
Is there a distance limit on that?
Well, you have to be on the same electrical circuit. Electrical wiring is the main thing. And also, if you go from, we got 220 divided into 2, sometimes you have to put a capacitor between one side to the other to make sure it crosses over to the other side. But other than that, you don't see a lot of people doing it. TP-Link did it. We probably need to try that. That would be ideal, because I just have another network connection in the barn, and I'd be good to go
It's-
then.
It's
Another router over there and I'm good.
Ethernet over power line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Relatively slow. You wouldn't necessarily need a cap on your 220 volt line. Plug it in the barn and then try different outlets around the house until you find one that works.
Exactly. That's exactly what I did. But it wasn't stable for whatever reason. I had different problems back in those days. I think I had the issue with the number of connections limited by the router. And these days, with all the Internet of Thing critters that are floating around here, you could run out of connections quick. I think that's our next opportunity.
Well, everybody runs NAT.
I thought that they were testing Ethernet over power and it never quite worked the way it was supposed to. But there's a bunch of TP-Link antennas on Amazon.
I had a Logitech camera, looked like a clock. Nice big display. It was a useful clock, and that did ether over power line. That was kind of cool. It worked well. I'm
think
sure I've still got it somewhere.
I don't think the problem was actually getting it to work over the power lines. It causes interference with some stuff. The frequency that they use or something
Yeah,
causes problems.
I did have some old X10 stuff that worked great. The modules that worked, I had bought some secondhand, and that they were great.
Yeah. X10 stuff. Is that stuff still around? They still make X10 stuff?
No,
you can buy it.
You can buy it,
Well, I know you can buy it.
but they have a replacement for that, I'm sure. I assume they do.
I thought I had read somewhere that X10 was causing problems with modern routers or something.
Well, they used to be running like 250 kilohertz or something like that.
Yeah, but it only transmitted when you sent a message. And for the vast majority of people, that was 3 times a day. So if it caused issues, I'd be surprised if it was anything significant. My dad did a bunch of stuff with X10, and for a while, I mean, we lived out on a farm in Riley, and he was losing a device a month every time there was a storm. And CG&E, before they were Duke Energy, had whole house isolation.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd pull off your meter, put this ring on, and put your meter in the ring. And there was a big MOV that covered everything, grounded out all sorts of stuff. He went years after that without losing any modules.
Yeah, they guaranteed stuff too. That was
Stuff
I
that
did
wasn't
that.
even plugged in. Your
Yeah.
telephone was covered.
I did that on one of the houses. That was one of the best things we ever did.
I think it was $250 a month to rent that thing from them.
They offered an option where you could buy it outright too. And I think we just bought ours outright. It wasn't all that expensive, but they guaranteed for 10 or 15 years worth of life that if you got struck by lightning and something blew up in your house, they would just replace it.
Yeah.
maybe because X10 is getting older, the hardware is getting less reliable, and I'm reading a lot about line noise
Well, the Internet
happening.
of Things, the IoT should replace it if they had a decent switch. You know, a wall switch,
Well,
why would it not replace it?
you can get I mean Belkin makes a wall switch, and I'm sure Tendy makes a wall switch, and TP Link. There's a bunch of places to make wall switches.
Okay. I needed to be send a signal to somewhere else.
Well, Google Home or something. Yep, $14. $14. I can get you a wall switch.
Okay, that would turn on and off
The 2.4 gigahertz.
turn off an IoT device, on and off an IoT device.
Well, it's a wall switch, so it would turn off your outlet or your light.
Oh, it goes directly to the light. I wanted to turn on and off a lamp, for the ceiling lamp.
It does.
Yeah,
Okay.
You can either manually flip the switch or you can tie that into Alexa or whatever and
or
say,
both.
Alexa, turn on the light.
Actually, you could do both. You could turn it on and still tell Alexa to turn it off.
And here's a smart light switch from Amazon. It has the on off symbol. Looks like it's a non-tactile button for $19.
But yeah,
Okay.
they've had those for years. There's a 2-pack for $28. Here's one that's got dimmers built into it. I just buy the
Really?
bulbs. Yeah, there's one with dimmers for $15.
But you got to buy the bulbs that support the dimmers, huh? Or buy the puck. Yeah.
No, I just buy the Wi-Fi bulbs.
Well, if you got 6 bulbs in your dining room lamp like we do, okay, then I got about 6 of those
Wi-Fi
$20
bulbs.
bulbs.
Yeah.
I just need a puck up there.
You just need an outlet. You could get a Wi-Fi outlet.
Yeah. But they're not designed really. They're designed to be plugged in, most of them.
Or you could get one of those switch. Belkin made some really nice replacement outlets.
Okay.
They looked exactly like an out. Well, they were a little bit bigger than an outlet, but they fit into the outlet box. You pull the old outlet out, you wire them up, you put them in, and they're Wi-Fi outlets.
Okay, good.
And if we had gotten the house that Patty was looking at that was completely gutted, that was exactly what I was going to go and buy. I was probably going to spend $1,000 on Wi-Fi outlets because that seemed to make sense to me. Except for, I don't think they make a GFI. I think you would still need an old style GFI around the water.
Okay, well, I need some for about $5 a piece.
Yeah. Probably not gonna find them for that cheap.
No.
Unless you go with like you had you had those weird puck things.
Yeah, that guy had some variants that were just wires. Yeah, that you just use wires with. In fact, I got a couple of those laying around. Oh, here we go.
Those things work. Did they
Yeah.
work with Google? Did they work with Google?
Yeah,
though?
that was a thing. I don't know if they work with. Let's see. Here we go. $5. Westech Smart Wi-Fi enabled. $5.17. There you go.
There you go.
Oh, there's one for $2.48 at Lowe's. It says smart, 15 amp. I don't think that was as smart as I want. Smart light switch, $10. Okay, they're getting there.
Here you go. 2 of them for 14.
Okay.
They're And if you want to turn it on without the app, you just hit that button.
It says works with
Oh.
Alexa.
Works with Alexa, Echo, and Google Home. No hub required. I'll put a link. Here's a link. Now I don't know if I don't know the brand. I don't know if that brand's any good, but it looks like
Is it $5?
what would that be? 2 for $7 a piece.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's close. It's close to your $5.
Yeah, I don't want something that plugs in. I want it to where I take off the ceiling lamp and put it up under in the box.
You
And
want
put the lamp back up there. I want it wired in.
well,
The other end, the wall switch, I just want to replace the wall switch. But
I mean,
and there should be plenty of those, yeah.
the wall switch is easy enough. Here's the wall switch. I'll put a link in. Oh, that's the wall switch with the dimmer. So that one's $15 with the dimmer. This one's $14 without a dimmer.
I've got really good luck with TP-Link stuff.
Yeah. I was using Mercury, I think was the brand name, and they changed to something else. So I've got a mix of Mercury bulbs and the other brand. And Walmart was selling them. Walmart was selling them for I think it was $15 for 2 bulbs. And they're RGB bulbs or and then they started closing them out, and I didn't go and buy anymore because I didn't need them. But I had bought a bunch of them, and I only had a problem with one bulb actually went bad. Never really had a problem with them. They just work. They do what they're supposed to do.
I found the outlets, but they're $35 for a pair. So yeah, it's just an outlet with a cover plate and just put it in the wall.
Yeah, I think the outlets are probably,
But I really don't even want the outlet. I just want to wire the darn thing up. Take the wire coming into the lamp, hanging from the ceiling lamp,
who
and
made
wire
that?
it to the existing
Oh,
wiring, and then
Wait, give me a second. Let me think. Somebody actually makes
we ain't got
exact.
that kind of time. No,
I got to think of the brand name. Somebody actually makes what you want. I just got to think of. I'm going to have to. Can't think of who that is. It's basically 4 wires or 5 wires. You connect the hot and the neutral, and then you wire it to the other. You don't get a switch or anything. You don't get a button to hit. You shove it in the thing, and
plug it in the electrical box and wire it up.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's all I want.
I got to think. I'm thinking. My brain hurts. 'Cause I'm
Uh-oh.
thinking.
I hope you got aspirin, maybe Tylenol handy. Yeah.
Can't remember who makes that thing. It's going to come to me.
Oh, here it is. No Wi-Fi. Okay. They got the wall switch and the 4-wire hockey puck for $14. That's the whole kit. And no Wi-Fi. 100-foot RF range. Expandable. There it is. How about that?
But that that is like a hub kind of deal. So you've got one extra component in there.
No, there's no hub. Nope.
So how does it
Yeah,
connect to
let me
the
make sure
IoT?
that- so I relocate to,
If it doesn't have Wi-Fi, how does it connect to your IoT stuff?
it doesn't. That's
Oh.
that's true. It does. It's just for replacing a switch. If you like what we got is we got a switch that we would have to move, and in order to get the wire to where we want the new switch, it would be a nightmare. So with this one, you just disconnect the old one and put your switch over there and put the puck in the light, and you're over. You're done. You can still use the switch. It doesn't have internet, doesn't have Wi-Fi. It's not an IoT, but it replaces it's a simple solution. And a cheap solution in this case. Yep. No router, no nothing. It looks like it's RF. Oh, you can make it a 4-way, a 5-way wireless switch. That is cute. And that way you don't have to be a rocket scientist. And you don't even have to have a network. But yeah. So they have exactly what I need. It would be nice for it to be Google friendly, but it's not.
I just can't remember what that thing was called. After the meeting, it's going to come to me. I'm going to know what.
I've got one that one of the guys at the club, the guy that did a lot of that automatic stuff.
Yeah.
He had some of them. I bought a couple of them, but I don't know if they're Google friendly.
Yeah, they were Google friendly. I'm fairly sure they were Google friendly. Um,
Well, if that's true, I have some somewhere. But I found out some of those IoT devices were not compatible with everyone, because I went with Tuya and some of them, and Tuya is pretty compatible. But some of them weren't.
yeah, they pretty much have to say that they'll work with Google Home or
Yeah.
Amazon Alexa or whatever. I'm pretty sure Roku has started making IoT stuff too. Actually, I think they're just rebranding somebody else's stuff, but they're making it affordable anyway. I cannot think.
So this is what I found that fixed my immediate problem. Instead of having to move that wiring, this would just, instead of remove the wiring, put that puck in the lamp socket, lamp base, and just put this, connect the switch to 120 volts, and you're done. And it's RF.
Yeah, I can't remember what that thing was called. That would solve your problem too, but you'd have to get up into the light box and wire it in there.
Yeah, well, there's a light buyers that exist already, so just pull a little light down and go into the box and insert it, and away you go.
Yeah. Can't remember what that thing was called. Frank did it. I think Frank had his house wired like that. I think it was Frank.
Oh, Gail's getting some hot dog buns out. This is serious.
Uh-oh. I had hot dogs for lunch. Patty is making me lasagna right now. I can smell it.
Ooh.
So it's almost dinner time. I can feel it in my tummy. Son off.
Yeah, that's it. And
Son off.
I've got some sitting in the other room. Absolutely. All I need to do is get the smart switch and I'll be in business. Maybe if they're compatible.
Let's see what it says. It doesn't specifically say Google Home. It says Alexa.
And these are probably 7, 8 years old. We had the guy that had the switches in the bathtub and all that stuff
Yeah.
when it had the Sonos stuff. Yeah.
Now this one here, this Sonoff. Oh, it's revision 2 or something. It does specifically say Google Home. So maybe there are two different. Here, I'll put a link. Maybe there are two different variations. Or a couple of different variations.
Well, Tuya and a lot of Google and everyone's they're conforming to a standard now. They got a standard they're building to, but had to try it out. Okay, we're run out of time.
Yep. We are virtual next week,
Yep.
so I will see everybody next week.
Sounds
All righty.
good night.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.